guys. I'm dying. My legs. Oh my god, this is hard. This is hard. Mental. Mental. Whoa. Guys, it's finally here. Get strapped in. This video is going to be brutal. This is the Zwifting equivalent of a horror movie. If the guards at Guantanamo Bay made a course, this would be it. This is the Salem witch trials on an indoor trainer. Welcome to my attempt at completing Zwift's hardest route. The real hardest route on Zwift. The sexily named PRL Fall. Guys, I'm about to start Eric Min's PRL Full badge hunt ride. So this is me doing the hardest, according to the comments on my video where I did the Uber pretzel. I titled that video the hardest course on Zwift, and I got inundated with comments saying no, PRL Full is the hardest course on Zwift. So I'm about to do, according to my comment section, the hardest course on Zwift. I don't really need a warm-up because it's 170 odd K, as you do. Now, I'm going to get straight into the action as I've got 173 kilometres to cover and 2,621 metres of elevation to climb. I do not have time for a long intro. There are also 11 bumps on the mini-map, as you can see in the top right-hand corner. These bumps are all Box Hill, a 3-kilometre climb that averages 4.2%. This route is 11 circuits of the London Loop, which in itself is just London flat with Box Hill thrown in. And I say that Box Hill is a bump on the mini-map, it's more like a huge spike. It's quite steep. Have a look at the gradient map that's appeared in the top right corner. Crikey, so this is 11 times up Box Hill. The only time I've ever ridden Box Hill was in real life, IRL. This is the first time I'm ever going to be able to say this in Zwift. The only time I've ever ridden Box Hill was in real life. That's a good feeling, and my legs are already sore. Now, as I describe it, it doesn't sound much, it doesn't sound that hard, but when I have to climb Box Hill 11 times and complete London Loop 13 times, I think it is, across this challenge, it soon feels enormous. I would say it also sounds soul destroying, but I have a very weird draw towards courses that are repetitive. I just enjoy doing the same thing over and over. My mind enjoys doing things on repeat, which is probably why I make YouTube videos. Now, I made a video about completing the Uber pretzel not too long ago. The link to that video is in the description if you want to go and watch it. And I titled that video the hardest route on Zwift because I thought it was. But I was inundated in the comment section telling me that the PRL Full is harder because of its mind-numbingly boring repetitive course design, and then of course its distance and elevation. The PRL Full is both the longest and hardest route on Zwift. So when you throw in the psychological aspect of repetition, understandably, many consider this route to be the real hardest route on Zwift. Eric Min's gone. He's off the front. He's attacking. He's going for a breakaway. Now, I know I'm not doing a very good job of making myself sound normal by saying that I'm looking forward to the repetitive nature of this challenge. But I'm not put off by the tedium of having to ride the London Loop over and over and climbing Box Hill 11 times. Knowing what to expect every loop, I find cathartic, if that's the right word to use. It helps with my plan of not dying a slow death. 173 kilometres and just over 2,600 metres of elevation is what's probably going to kill me. I will also say that I spent an unusually long time counting the spikes on the mini-map, and by the 95th time I checked how many spikes I had left because I kept miscounting. I felt like Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man, except I'm pretty sure that his character in Rain Man probably wouldn't have miscounted as many times as I did. And then there were points where all I did was count the spikes because I kept getting the count wrong. Now, I know this doesn't sound normal, and I think I was starting to lose my mind slowly over the duration of this challenge, but I'm getting ahead of myself. We're not quite at the mental breakdown stage just yet. We're still in the fun, chatty early stages of starting out on London flat, with Eric Min attacking off the front. Just once I want to get to the front, and then the rest is que sera, sera. Here I am, Good on you, Thomas. Okay, I'm at the front, guys. There's my thumbnail. Now, I didn't know what to do here. I knew that there were more than enough people behind me that I could latch onto, but I also wanted to try and start strong, take advantage of the enormous amount of draft benefit around me, and try and hold a goodish time for me for the first half of this course. I was also mindful of pacing myself. When or if I complete this course, this will be the furthest I have ever ridden on an indoor trainer, well, on a bike in general, because I haven't ridden this far outside either. After 128k and 8.5 spikes, I was going to be in uncharted territory, so I decided to enjoy the ride and pace myself rather than go for a time. My only aim, finish the ride and try to enjoy it, and hopefully stop counting the spikes in the top right hand corner. There he is. Because of my tardiness, I joined the pen quite late, so I wasn't at the front, and I eventually reached Eric Min after we kicked off, who is the Zwift CEO and organiser of this group ride event. And I know he's not watching, but I just want to say a big thank you to Eric for setting this group ride up. It was an awesome event. It was so much fun, and it was much more achievable by doing it with other people who also made it fun. I'm waffling, but you know, I thought it was brilliant. This is where I get dropped. Happy to get dropped here. Now, I made a point of starting the climb with Eric and his entourage, knowing full well I'd start to sag throughout the entirety of this climb. As I started number 1 of 11, spikes that is, you can check in the top right hand corner if you need to count them, I did enjoy all of the in-game chat. Even though this was a virtual ride, this doesn't feel like the real time. It did make it feel really immersive, and the atmosphere did feel electric. At this point, I'm really pleased I decided to do this ride. Oh my goodness, how long does this climb go on for? I'm just spinning, guys. Happy to spin and fall off the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, nearly there. I can see the top. Is it the top? Or is it a false flat? I know from real life experience, these markers on the floor, this paint from the Olympics is near the top. Yeah, there's the top. Happy days. Oh my goodness. Nearly at the top, guys. As I got to the top, I tried really hard to hold blue and green numbers and not hit any red numbers, which means that I'm staying in zone 2 and 3, as you can see from the rainbow graph at the bottom. But don't worry, because the longer this ride goes on, it's really not hard to not go into the red. Ah, there we go. Box Hill done. I was then treated to an in-game cinematic view of the comms banner. I will say that after spike 4 or 5, this cinematic camera angle got old very quick, but it's still early days, so I'm still enjoying it. And then, I wasn't expecting this, the course has this really nasty spicy kicker that spikes at 9.7%. I had to put in a big dig because I'd get stuck slowly spinning, losing all speed and draft benefit. We've all been there, so I had to use watts here and leg power, which towards the end of this ride becomes really, really hard, and it's in the worst place. It's right at the top of Box Hill after you've exerted all of your energy to get there. What is this hill? 9%? Come on. 9% hill. Who put that there? However, and this was the best bit, the descent was brilliant. Here we go, super tuck. One of many super tucks, guys. Use up all the colours of the rainbow. Being a heavier rider, I got to enjoy the downhill, which I used to take on water, electrolytes and eat some food. The lighter riders had to keep pedaling if they wanted to stay in the draft, when I didn't. They got up the climb quicker, I got down the descent without having to pedal. Something for everyone on this course. I then powered into the tunnel, up another painful kicker. I was expecting this one because I've done it before. The escalator climb that peaks at 15%. And then again, unless I put in a small sprint, I get stuck just spinning. Red, green, orange, yellow, blue, indigo and violet too. These are all the colors of the rainbow. It was It's at this point I then noticed another rider, Jeremy Hopkins, who was always conveniently sat not too far in front of me. When I slowed, so did he, and when I increased the power, he would move forward too. I didn't say anything at this point. I didn't message him in chat because I wasn't sure if it was just one of those things where we're all trying to find our pack, and that's what he was doing. That's what I thought he was doing. However, I knew the second climb up Box Hill was coming, and who I start climbing it with probably won't be who I finish climbing it with. Here we go, guys. Here we go. Start of number 2. I don't know why I'm trying to hold this group. There's a climb coming, so I might just sag back to the next group. I'm going to stand for a second once I get onto the darkest bit of the climb, just to get some blood flow. Then I'm going to eat something at the top of this climb. Just a slow grind. Nothing major. Slow grinding. I just want to quickly mention at this point in the video, coffee breaks or coffee power-ups or coffee cups or whatever the hell they're called was active on this ride. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, the coffee cup break power-up is a feature that is switched on by whoever organises the event, so it has to be activated. You activate it in settings, and it's only available in group rides. It's not available in races, for example. So, you know, this obviously isn't a race, even though there are people racing it. There's always someone racing in Zwift. However, if you select it, it gives you the advantage to be able to stop pedaling for, I think, for about 3 minutes from memory. I'm not sure. It lets you stop for a few minutes and do whatever you need to do. Go to the toilet, have a break. However, having said all of that, I made a conscious decision before I got on the bike that I wasn't going to use coffee power-ups. I wasn't going to use the coffee break at all. That's not because I think they're a negative thing. I don't. It doesn't bother me at all. In fact, I think they make rides like this a inclusive event. It means people that maybe aren't as strong or as powerful or just don't have the endurance to cover this kind of distance and elevation, it means they get to do it as well with their teammates, which if you are involved in an event like this, doing it with other people makes it so much more enjoyable. So for that reason, I give them a thumbs up. However, as I've already said, I've chosen not to use it, and I'm going to complete this course or die trying. Right, my legs feel okay, guys. My legs are woken up now. It's only taken 22.5k, and yeah, halfway up Box Hill. So I climbed Box Hill for the second time. That's 2 spikes ticked off now, and I've counted them to double check. I enjoy the in-game cinematic camera angle again. I punched up that leg busting kicker using the feather power up again, and then I decided to get off the bike and stretch on the descent. I think I can super tuck here. So what I'm going to do is stretch, crouch. Blessing, this was a real blessing. Have a drink. Right, super tucking all my way to the bottom. I'm just going to turn the fan off for a sec. I'm just going to eat a Sorin bar. This downhill is a godsend. I've got a sneaky suspicion this Jeremy Hopkins from the USA, Team Sisu, if that's how you say it, is helping me. Because every time I speed up, so does he. And every time I slow down, which is quite telling when I slow down, because I'm slowing down more than I'm speeding up, he is as well. And if he is helping me, I greatly appreciate that. I also noticed that Mr. Hopkins, my new friend, that rider I mentioned previously, was still with me. I knew this wasn't a coincidence anymore. He had obviously decided to ride with me, and with the benefit of hindsight, I now know in edit that that's exactly what he was doing. He had chosen to help me because I'd announced it before I got on the bike. I announced it a few days before, actually. This kicker here, this is mental. What is this about? And I love the Zwift community spirit for this reason. I'm just trying to stay in this group, just so as I get the benefit of the draft. Otherwise it just takes so much longer on your own. I need to get rid of this aero. That's almost completely useless. So sit rep, starting to feel a bit tired if I'm honest, which is a bit concerning, which is why I'm eating. So these groups that are coming through, not this group is on the same lap, but some of these groups that are coming through have lapped us. There's one group of about 6 riders that have lapped me, but we're coming up to the climb again, number 3. I think it's almost impossible to stick with a group up this climb. I mean, there's a lot of people still behind me. There is a group behind me, but then you lose them on the descent. So as I hit the top, again enjoyed the cinematic angle, and then again enjoyed the kicker, I decided to try and eat a few snacks and pop an energy gel on the descent. Just got some biscuits, rich tea biscuits, to fight off that feeling of fatigue. I didn't stop to do it on the climb, I just kept powering through. I was mindful that as I'm doing this challenge, I'm also in the middle of completing the Rapha 500 challenge. I've already mentioned that. So I'm not at my peak training readiness. I'm not feeling massively energetic because, yeah, Rapha 500's hard. I'm really tired, guys. Now, guys, I'm trying to paint you a picture, but the only way I can describe this challenge, it was mental, literally and figuratively. I've managed to latch onto this group. I'll be dropped by the climb because they've lapped me, but it was fun to be in a group. Because this loop is so short, and even though this was a group ride challenge, there were those racing it or going for a sub 5-hour time. And of course there's people racing, this is Zwift, but fair play to them because they were obviously going for a sub 5-hour time, which feels really fast. It was a bit soul destroying watching much faster riders zoom past me at a pace which was breakneck. And the fact that they've been holding that for this length of time, and they need to carry on doing that over the rest of this course to break the 5-hour barrier. Okay, I'm dropped. Just blows my mind. I think that's amazing. It's inspiring. So yeah, well done. Wish I had a feather. I've had a feather once so far. There was now also, as you will see on screen, another rider that had quietly joined both myself and Jeremy, Mr. John O from Canada. He was a little bit more chatty and was sharing positive affirmations on chat, which again, I really appreciated. I don't know what I did to deserve this kind of support, but you know, again, thank you guys. It was great. I PM'd them both privately, which I don't know why I did that because it doesn't show up on screen, and I thanked them for their help. And then the 3 of us were then joined by Katie, who at this point was privately messaging me really kind messages of good luck and support. She was also telling me that she's currently using this challenge as part of her training for an Everesting attempt, which I think is pretty awesome if I'm honest. And she is now part of our new PRL tribe. We've managed, I think, to get a small little group, which will be cool. I found from doing some of these big group rides like this one and others like Tour de Zwift that the trick is to find your own group and then try and work with them. It's also really nice to ride with others, even though it's on screen, it feels that much more immersive. So I highly recommend the Tour de Zwift event that's currently going on as this video goes live. I now had a responsibility to work as part of this new tribe that we had formed. Oh, coffee time. Real coffee time. Whilst enjoying my caffeine kick, I reached the top for the 4th time, counted the spikes for the umpteenth time, enjoyed the cinematic angle, punched the kicker, and enjoyed the descent. We're starting to understand the script now, guys. Now I was officially part of my own group. I was now trying to keep up with that group, and there were moments that I was trying to hold watts that felt too high. I wasn't yet halfway, and I didn't want to burn out. I still had 7 spikes to complete. Did you count them as well to make sure I was telling the truth? And I didn't want to risk not finishing by trying to keep up with riders that might be risking burnout themselves. Now, on hindsight, I know that wasn't the case. These guys were beasts. Okay, we haven't really got to grips with this grouping up. Everyone's kind of just pushing the pace. This is too fast for me. This is too fast for me. Now, none of the members of our new tribe were using the coffee breaks. Well, they weren't yet anyway, but there were some people that were passing us or people that we were catching that were using them. There was an issue I did have with the coffee breaks. Now, this is what you've been waiting for, me to say something about the coffee breaks. However, what I'm going to say is the issue that I had was people would take the breaks and then they'd have 3 minutes and they'd feel immediately better. So they'd start pulling again. They'd start increasing the pace of this larger group that we're in, which made it harder for those of us that weren't refreshed after a 3-minute break. Now, for someone not using them, which was a choice, it was my choice, they were very tempting, but I'd chosen not to. We had to contend with that there were people around us that were pulling us faster than felt comfortable. So I had to be mindful of that, but that wasn't a problem on the flats because it meant that we got to the climb quicker. The downside to getting to the climb quicker was that I didn't have as long of a recovery. It is what it is. I just wanted to mention that because it was something that was going through my mind. Guys. That was the hardest one I've done so far. Brutal. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 done. 5. Having incorrectly counted 5 spikes several times, watched another cinematic angle again and then punched that kicker. This hill, what is this kicker? Seriously, I'm going to save the feather. Again, I put a dig in so I can super tuck while I give my bum a break. Okay, downhill, hang on. Let me see it. Let me see it off the bike. Just for a second. Whoa, I've got this salty pretzel. I'm just starting to be dropped by our group. I'm struggling. We're coming up to the 3-hour mark and we've just hit halfway. There's no way I'm finishing the second half at the pace of the first half. Okay, I'm struggling, but here comes Eric Min. Then, as I was halfway up spike 6, Eric Min and his entourage lapped me. A weird confetti animation went off, maybe to celebrate Eric lapping me, which was a bit strange. And I realised that to be able to stay with Eric and his crew, I'd have to hold 250 plus watts up this hill, which, no siree, that's a bit rich for me. I let him sail off into the distance. Trying to stay with him over the top. Feels like a mistake. This is a mistake. I'm sorry. Oh my god. Top of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Top of 6. I lost count. Hey. Oh my god, this is hard. This is hard. I get to the top with John, Jeremy and Katie, count the spikes, watch the cinematic angle, punch the kicker, go down the other side. I get off the bike, take my shoes off to alleviate the strange burning sensation on the bottom of my feet, and I start singing. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Right, shoes back on. I mentioned the part about the mental breakdown. Everything's completely normal. This is not me losing my mind at all. 1, 2, 3, 5 left. And I recognised that I now had to do everything I'd just done again as I was only halfway. Super tuck. Look at this super tuck. It's brilliant. So good. Well, I have to do 5 more spikes as I've already completed 6, but the distance was still pretty epic. The challenge is on these flats is to recover but not lose loads of time. This is a very good group. There's 4 of us here. Really supportive, really positive. Jeremy, who had been with me from earlier in this challenge, said in chat he wasn't going to complete the whole thing and he'd only joined to support me. We all piled on with the peer pressure and persuaded him to stick with us until the end. This was the best part of the challenge by far, forming this small group that was slowly growing with every lap. You just don't meet people like this in everyday life. Tracy then very kindly brought me a very strong coffee. Okay. 80k left. Even though I couldn't have an in-game coffee break, that doesn't mean I can't enjoy one on the bike. This is how biking should be enjoyed. Zwifting is a very, very civilised sport, as I don't get to do this outdoors. This is civilised. 80k left. We rolled through the pixelated streets of London and hit the climb again. Here we go again. Here we go again, guys. For some reason I'm leading my group out. I don't know why I'm doing that, so I'm going to rein that back. Oh my goodness, guys. We know by now that the cinematic camera angle kicks in and then the spicy kicker that needs to be punched means one thing. Downhill recovery. Guys, cheers. Downhill. So I've got 4, count them. I've got 4 left to go. Eric then kindly reminds us that he only has 53k to go. Thanks for that, Eric. I've got 73. And where I don't have to pedal to stay with the pack because I'm slightly heavier, I forget that it's easy to drop those in the draft, like our new member of the tribe, Joanne. I slowed down to allow Joanne to catch on. And as she sped past us like a demon, we are now back together and working as a well-oiled machine just after I kick up this climb. Oh my goodness. I hate this escalator. This does my legs. Lots of people struggling there. I'm not surprised. So far, I've had an energy gel, a pretzel, some biscuits, a Soreen bar, and this is my second banana. And then as we hit climb 8, I try to stay with a couple in the group. We get split apart. The unspoken rule on these climbs is just to keep going. And as a heavier rider, I can catch them on the descent, probably. But I don't want to completely lose them or force them to slow, so I try my best to stay with some of them. I have to hold higher watts than feels comfortable, especially after 4 hours of cycling and over 1,700 metres of climbing. 250 watts for any length of time at this point now hurts and spikes my heart rate. We eventually hit the top, cinematic angle, and I punched the kicker. I absolutely hate this next kicker. I've got to power into it. Now as a group, we're no longer together. Because we're all different abilities and weights, it's almost impossible to stay together on the climbs. I say we, I mean me, I'm at the back. However, I know that if I stay in the draft of Katie on the downhill, I'll catch back on. What goes up must come down. I put in a small sprint and very quickly join back up with the group. Salted cars. Here we go again. I'm going to stand for a minute. Climb 9, I stand. Just for a minute. Oh, my legs. Try to stay with the group. Realise I can't, I sit down. Oh man. Wish I could use the coffee break, but I don't. Guys, I'm dying. My legs. This is where they're really handy, by the way, to be able to keep up with the group. I try and stay steady. I decide I'm dying, but I keep pushing, and I eventually hit the top. Back at the top again, guys.
A little motivation to pull you from the
2 more hills, guys. I've got a nice respite, which is the London loop, and then 2 more hills. 2 more times up Box Hill, and then I'm done. 42k left to go. Mental. Mental. Having now passed the 128k marker, I was now in uncharted territory. With every pedal stroke, I was setting a new PR. I saved my feather, guys. I get to treat myself. Where should I use it? I might use it on the worst bit. Climb 10, and I'm excited to actually have a feather for a climb. Only the second time this has happened. I tell the group not to wait for me because I'm literally dying. They don't listen to me, of course, because they're team players and they slow for me. Feather! Drop the feather, guys! Let's go! Let's use it! I dropped the feather and tried to take advantage. I was probably more excited than I should have been. And of course you know the script by now, cinematic angle, punching a kicker in the face, descent. I now only have one last climb left. That's it. Last lap. Last time up Box Hill. Not the last time up this goddamn kicker. I'm having to do 600 watts. Last time. Last time, fans going back on. I hit the climb, I concentrated, I want to get up it with the team. Right, concentrate line. I stood up, I worry my bike is falling apart beneath me. And I haven't used, oh my God, what's going on with my bike? I sit up, I fall on my pedals. Just fall on the pedals. I crack a joke in chat. Right guys, one last time, cinematic camera angle, I'm not going to miss that. I didn't punch the kicker in the face because Joanne had been dropped and we were all waiting for her. Right, we've lost our group, so I'm just going to slow here and let them catch. By this point, Joanne was now over 30 seconds behind on Box Hill. John was waiting stationary for her to catch. I wanted for us to all finish this as a band of brothers and sisters. Jeremy, Katie and myself had slowed to a crawl. Joanne now reached John and she popped her coffee break power up, and John dropped red numbers, almost immediately dragging Joanne back to us. This was the example I was talking about earlier, where using the coffee breaks, and thank God for the coffee breaks, which meant that we didn't lose astronomical amounts of time and everyone got to stay together. We didn't have to make that awful decision about whether or not we left someone behind. Everyone worked together to get this done. It made me feel quite emotional, if I'm honest. I was having so much fun. So with the sunset or sunrise, I'm not sure which, on the horizon, we descended the hill one last time. Suit up! How far then? 12k. Easy guys, easy 12k. No big deal. You just rode 100 miles. Achievement unlocked. Boom! I've just unlocked the Century kit. Welcome to the club. Don't mind if I do. I get a new achievement. The excitement of ending this ordeal was kicking in, and like a regiment of hardened soldiers returning from battle, we smashed the escalator clipper one last time and rolled through London to the finish line on the Mall. I know I always say sprint for a finish line, but I don't have it in me. And also, I think that would be quite disrespectful to these riders that I've been with for the majority of this ride. That's it guys, I've completed the PRL full. I really don't care about the time. I mean, the time was all right. I'm pretty sure I could probably do it quicker. However, when I went to bed that night, my legs didn't cramp. I woke up feeling relatively okay, considering. I even managed to do another 40k group ride the next day at 9 AM, and that felt really good as a recovery ride. The best thing about this challenge, the best thing about this ride by far, was the fun I had, the unexpected fun I had with people that I have never met before and didn't know I'd end up riding with. That's it guys, done! 6 hours 11 minutes. Route complete, the PRL full. Well done to everyone that completed that tonight. So good. Right, I'm gonna have a shower and I'm going to bed. Was the PRL full harder than the Uber Pretzel? I'm going to say no. The Uber Pretzel felt harder, mainly because it ends on Alpe de Zwift, and Alpe de Zwift is really bloody hard. Even though the PRL full is higher in gradient on paper, I always knew Box Hill was shortish and I had time to recover on the descents afterwards, something you just don't get on the relentless climb up Alpe de Zwift. The hardest part for me was staying consistent on the flats around London Loop, sticking in the draft so I didn't get dropped, and then trying to stay with my group on the climbs. However guys, having said everything I've just said in this video, I want to thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate your support. I also want to say thank you to everyone that was in our tribe on this challenge. You guys were awesome. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if someone decides this isn't the hardest route on Zwift, please let me know what you think is the hardest route. I might give it a go for fun. Unless you say Everesting. Weighing 90 kg, I'm not going to Everest. I've tried to Everest and I got halfway. I'm not doing that anytime soon. See you in next week's video. Really good. I enjoyed that. That was fun. Thanks for watching.